Hi everybody. I'm fortunate enough to have a brand new iPhone X and it shoots 4K video. That's not anything that's particularly new for a cell phone, but it's new for me and I figured, well, how good is it? Is it good enough that I could maybe take a few shots on it and slip it into a real production if I just was standing at the right spot at the right time and the shot that I needed happened to be in front of me, or I just didn't have the time to go grab the real camera because it wasn't with me? Let's go check this out. Some pleasant surprises. The dynamic range of this camera is pretty amazing. The color, the contrast, all looks really good. Now, is it as good as, say, a Canon C300 or any other good modern camera you want to name? Well, no, not quite. But if you wanted to compare this to a camera, a DSLR from, say, 5 years ago, well, you might have a more interesting bet there. For example, the iPhone can shoot high-speed 1080. That's something your DSLR, at least not an old one, probably can't do. The other thing I very quickly found out, and I made a real beginner mistake with phones, the shutter. Now, I didn't think twice about this. I always figured that the camera would simply gain the sensor down so that I'd have a normal-ish shutter speed. No, instead it cranks the shutter speed way up during daylight, which I think is just totally bizarre. That led to a lot of staccato motion. Now, of course, there actually is a fix for that, sort of, and that's to use Real Smart Motion Blur from RE Vision Effects. That was the other thing I learned. If you really want to shoot video on your iPhone, you're going to need to get yourself an ND filter. The image stabilization is another thing. It tended to be not really that great, kind of jerky. It'd catch up and move, and it really wasn't terribly smooth. Apple really needs to tweak out how well a stabilizer works to smooth it out and to really make it more consistent, because it tended to just try and stabilize a shot as soon as it sensed motion and then snap back to its middle setting once it hit the edge. One place where 4K really falls down on this camera is low light. I mean, it literally kind of looks like 720 video or maybe 1080 if I'm being kind. The compression artifacts really jump up like crazy, and overall there's just a total loss of sharpness. So there you have it, a quick look at the iPhone X video. Would I think about using a shot off this camera in a real production? Totally. People are doing it all the time. They're just not talking about it, because if you're out walking about and you've got the perfect filler shot for your project, you can pull your phone out, do it as a lock off, or at least try and hold the camera steady in front of yourself. And if you have to pan really, really slowly, so that the image stabilizer doesn't have a chance to be exceeded, snap back, and make an artificial jerk in your footage. It'll also alleviate the problem of the camera's internal shutter being cranked up if you don't happen to have an ND filter. That's a quick look at the new iPhone X in 4K.